Ladies and gentlemen, peace isn't the absence of trouble. Peace is the presence of power in the middle of trouble. It's standing in the center of a storm with your head held high, knowing who you are, knowing what you carry, and refusing to be shaken by the wind. That's what real peace looks like. It's not about what's happening around you. It's about what's happening in you. You see, when you've been through enough, when life has hit you hard enough, you stop looking for peace in the noise, and you start building it in your soul. The world may call it being quiet, but don't confuse stillness for weakness. It takes strength to be still. It takes strength to be silent when you want to react. It takes strength to remain calm when everything in you wants to fight back, clap back, and strike back. You can shout and scream and stomp your feet, but that won't move mountains. That just moves emotions. Mountains move when you're centered. Battles are won not in panic, but in poise. That's why you've got to protect your peace like a warrior guards a treasure. Because that peace you carry is what gives you power to think straight, to walk tall, to hear clearly. That peace is what separates you from the chaos. You can't afford to keep losing it over people who don't even know the value of it. You can't keep letting every opinion shake you. You can't keep allowing small minds to pull you into small arguments. You were born to rise above it, not wrestle with it. There's a reason the enemy keeps attacking your peace, because he knows that once you're at peace, he can't reach you. He can throw everything at you, but if your spirit is still, you won't break, you won't bend, you won't burn out. You'll walk through fire and come out without the smell of smoke. That's the power of peace. It holds you steady when life pulls at you from every direction. It whispers to your heart when your head is full of noise. It reminds you who you are when the world tries to make you forget. So stop apologizing for being calm. Stop explaining your peace to people who live in chaos. Stop watering down your stillness just to make other people comfortable. Some people won't understand your peace because they've never experienced their own. And that's not your problem. Your job is to guard it, protect it, and walk in it with boldness, because when you have peace, you have access. Access to wisdom, access to direction, access to purpose. Everything you've been praying for flows through that peace. Don't give it away. Don't let it leak. Stand firm in it, because it's not weakness. It's not passivity. It's power. It's protection. It's the foundation that everything else in your life is built on. Peace is your power. Don't ever let it be stolen again. There comes a point when you have to wake up and realize your joy is not a bargaining chip. Your peace is not up for auction. Your energy is not a donation. You've been spending too much time investing in chaos that never brings a return. Pouring into people who only know how to drain, showing up for those who disappear when it's your turn to need. And while you've been trying to be the glue, trying to hold it all together, you've been bleeding from the inside quietly, silently, invisibly. But not anymore. You've got to stop trading your joy for moments that leave you empty. Your heart was never designed to be a battlefield for someone else's war. You've been wearing yourself out trying to fix what you didn't break, trying to carry people who refuse to walk. Every time you allow someone else's dysfunction to dictate your direction, you lose a little more of yourself. Every time you let their crisis become your responsibility, you give away pieces of your soul. And let's be real, some of us are tired not because of what we're going through, but because we keep taking on what they refuse to deal with. That's not love, that's self. destruction in disguise. You were never meant to be a container for chaos. You were never meant to be the emotional garbage can for everyone's mess. You are not God. You are not the fixer. And no matter how much you love them, if they keep costing you your joy, it's time to reevaluate the price you're willing to pay. You've got to reclaim your joy like your life depends on it, because it does. Joy is not just an emotion, it's fuel. And without it, everything becomes heavy. The weight of the world feels unbearable when you no longer have joy to carry you through it. But hear this, your joy is your responsibility. Stop handing it out like coupons to people who never earned it. Stop allowing situations to pull you back into places you've already prayed your way out of. You've come too far. You've cried too much. You've grown too deep to go back to entertaining things that serve no purpose in your future. When you stop giving your joy to chaos, you'll realize how powerful you truly are. You'll see how much clarity you gain, how much peace you carry, how much more of yourself comes alive. The moment you stop showing up for every fire that's not yours to put out, you'll find space to breathe again. Space to dream again, space to simply be, because joy doesn't live in the noise. Joy is found in freedom. And freedom comes when you stop allowing what's around you to control what's within you. So stop trading your joy for survival. You weren't meant to just survive. You were born to live, to thrive, to glow from the inside out. Hold onto your joy. Protect it like a crown, and never again let anyone convince you to give it away for less than it's worth. There comes a season in your life where silence is not only a statement, it's a strategy. Where walking away is not quitting, it's growth. Where setting boundaries is not being selfish, it's survival. You've spent too many nights trying to explain your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you. Too many days bending, shrinking, and breaking so you could fit into places you've already outgrown. And now, the cost is too high, the weight is too heavy, the peace is too precious. This is the moment where you learn to say no without guilt, walk away without regret, and protect your peace without apology. You don't need a round table meeting to decide who you are. You don't need 10 opinions to validate your next step. When you know what you carry, you stop asking for permission to be whole. There is nothing wrong with protecting your space, your energy, your time. You can love people and still leave the room. You can care deeply and still cut the connection. Because love without boundaries becomes a prison, and grace without truth becomes manipulation. You've got to stop allowing guilt to hold you hostage to environments that drain you dry. You're not responsible for fixing everyone. You're not obligated to stay where you no longer grow. Some people will never honor your peace because they've never lived with their own. They thrive on dysfunction. They feed off your response. And the moment you go quiet, the moment you choose to walk in stillness, they panic. Not because you're wrong, but because they no longer have access to the part of you they used to control. That silence, that boundary, that distance, it's not coldness, it's wisdom. You're not shutting them out. You're choosing you. You're choosing healing. You're choosing freedom. And that's a choice you don't have to explain to anyone. Let them talk. Let them spin their stories. Let them say you've changed, because you have, and that's a beautiful thing. Growth will always offend the ones who refuse to change. You've got to be okay with being misunderstood. You've got to be okay with walking away from familiar faces to walk into unfamiliar favor. Some doors only open when you learn to shut others behind you. Some blessings only flow once you stop entertaining battles that were never yours to fight. Stop shrinking for comfort. Stop contorting yourself to stay in the picture. You weren't born to be a background character in someone else's chaos. You are the main character in your own story. And if that means cutting ties, letting go, walking away, or going silent, so be it. You don't need a crowd to confirm what peace has already revealed. This is your moment. This is your shift. Protect your space, guard your joy, build boundaries like fences around a garden, because what's growing in you now is too valuable to be trampled by careless feet. And if anyone calls that selfish, let them. They weren't meant to go where you're headed. Some people will test your healing just to see if you're still bleeding. They don't come to support your growth, they come to challenge it. They come to poke at the very wounds you've spent years praying over. And if you're not careful, you'll fall back into old patterns trying to prove you've changed. But real healing doesn't need to be proven. It just is. You don't need to explain your peace to those who only recognize pain. You don't have to defend your growth to those still trapped in their dysfunction. The greatest evidence of your healing is your lack of reaction. It used to take one wrong word to pull you into an argument, one dirty look to steal your whole day, one triggered memory to send you spiraling into anxiety. But now you walk in a stillness they don't understand. Now you carry a calm that can't be shaken, and it's that calm that makes people uncomfortable. Not because you've changed for the worse, but because they can no longer manipulate the version of you they were comfortable with. They miss the you who always answered the call. They miss the you who always explained yourself. They miss the version of you who broke yourself just to keep the peace. But that version of you is no longer available. You didn't go through all that pain just to stay the same. You didn't cry those tears, survive those battles, and fight those silent wars just to stay stuck in a cycle. You've earned your healing, you've worked for it, you've surrendered for it, and you can't keep going back to what broke you just because it's familiar. The enemy of your healing is comfort with what used to hurt you. The enemy of your growth is your craving to be understood by people who choose not to see you. But you've got to stop needing their validation. Their acceptance is not your oxygen. Their approval is not your destiny. Your healing is sacred. Don't put it on display for people who only want to use it against you. Don't waste your peace trying to prove you're different. Just be different. Let your silence speak. Let your calm speak. Let your distance speak. Because when you're truly healed, you don't chase closure, you create it. You don't beg for peace, you walk in it. And that posture will confuse the ones who only knew how to access you through your pain. There's a power in restraint. There's a strength in stillness. There's a grace in choosing not to go back. Let them think what they want. Let them say what they will. You don't have to fight what healing has already settled. You're not who you were. You've grown. You've evolved. You've become. And anyone who tests your healing will find out. This version of you isn't fragile anymore. It's fortified, built with wisdom, covered in peace, and protected by purpose. There is a kind of calm that can't be faked, and it confuses the very ones who used to control you with chaos. When you stop reacting, when you stop engaging in the noise, when you stop explaining and start standing, people don't know what to do with you. Because they were never afraid of your shouting, they were afraid of your silence. They were never intimidated by your tears. They were shaken by your strength. The real test of maturity isn't how loud you can get. It's how silent you can stay. It's in that calm that your true power rises. That's where your discernment sharpens, your faith deepens, your purpose clears. See, the enemy doesn't panic when you scream. He doesn't flinch when you cry. But when you become still, when you are no longer moved by every insult, every disappointment, every rejection, that's when the ground begins to shake. Because that kind of peace isn't natural, it's spiritual. It's not the result of everything going right. It's the result of being right within yourself. It's a stillness born out of experience, scars, and surrender. It's a calm that says, I've seen too much, I've come through too much, and I refuse to go back. You don't have to raise your voice to raise your standard. You don't have to fight to prove your strength. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to not move at all. When they expect you to lash out and you stay silent, that's power. When they try to bait you into drama and you walk away, that's power. When the storm is swirling and you remain rooted, that's power. Your calm is your resistance. Your peace is your protest. Your stillness is your strength. Let them talk. Let them lie. Let them twist the narrative. Your truth is not shaken by their noise. You are not called to convince everyone. You are not called to win every argument. You are called to walk in purpose, and purpose doesn't argue with petty. Purpose doesn't beg for attention. Purpose doesn't need applause. It walks quiet and speaks loud. It shows up without explanation. It stands when everything else falls apart. You're stepping into a season where your calm will be your weapon, where your silence will be louder than any shout, where your peace will do what your words could never accomplish. Don't trade that power for petty arguments. Don't hand that authority over to people who wouldn't know what to do with it. Protect your calm like a crown. Guard it like gold. Because when you carry peace, you carry something the world cannot manufacture and hell cannot counterfeit. So stay calm, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Not because you're afraid, but because you're focused. And when the enemy comes for your peace again, let your stillness answer the door. You've cried long enough. You've let the past rob you of sleep, joy, and clarity long enough. There comes a moment when you've got to say, no more. No more letting guilt write your story. No more letting fear decide your steps. No more letting people's opinions shape your identity. You've got to reclaim what was stolen, not just your peace, but your confidence, your voice, your rhythm, your fire. Somewhere along the way, life hit you so hard you stopped fighting for yourself. You started surviving instead of living. You started adjusting to pain like it was normal, but pain is not your address. It was just a stop on the journey. Everything the enemy used to shut you down was meant to keep you from rising up. But what he didn't count on was your bounce back. He didn't count on your awakening. He didn't count on you reaching the point where you stopped accepting defeat as your destiny. Now is the time to take it all back. Every lost moment, every wasted year, every buried dream. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're not too far gone. The very fact that you're still breathing means there's still something in you that heaven wants to use. It's time to stop negotiating with what was and start commanding what will be. You've got to stop revisiting the grave of who you used to be and start resurrecting the power of who you are now. You were never meant to stay in sorrow. You were never meant to make a bed in brokenness. There is more ahead than what's behind. But to see it, to walk in it, you've got to reclaim your place. You've got to reclaim your identity. You've got to reclaim your peace, not as something to hope for, but something to fight for. You may have lost some things, but you didn't lose your worth. You may have stumbled, but you didn't lose your call. There's something in you that didn't break, something in you that still believes, something in you that still hungers for more. That's the part you need to speak to. That's the part you need to awaken. Tell the discouraged part of you to rise. Tell the forgotten part of you to come forth. Tell the fearful part of you that peace is not a fantasy, it's your right. This isn't the season to be silent. This isn't the time to shrink back. This is the hour to take back everything that once silenced you. Take back your courage. Take back your discipline. Take back your joy. Take back your stillness. You've mourned long enough. Now, it's time to move. Walk like you own the peace you've been promised. Talk like the war is already won. Live like the storm is behind you, because it is. What's ahead is greater than what you lost. Reclaim it, and don't you ever let it go again.